Yo, what is up? Welcome back to another episode, GMAK The Boiler Men. We are here for you once again. It's been a wild journey, man, and watching this channel go from 0 to over 600 subscribers is really a surreal feeling. And I know to a lot of people, maybe that's not a lot of subscribers, but to us, especially in our niched out field, that's a big number, and we're just going to keep growing, keep building, and keep striving for better. I can tell you, myself, I deal with a lot of imposter syndrome. I'm working on it, right? I'm not in therapy for it, but it's something I have to remind myself of, that I do have a lot of knowledge in this department and that you guys are definitely getting something from it. Obviously, we always have our haters in the comments, but what would the world be like without them, in my opinion? Makes the world go round. They make it so much easier to do my job. And do something that I love, which is coming here and talking to you guys, because I had a podcast for a long time and I had about 50 episodes and I love doing a podcast, but it really took a lot of my time and energy, and this is something I really get to enjoy doing, and I don't have to do it for 30 minutes to an hour, which can be exhausting at times. So I get to come on here, talk to you about whatever topics I want to talk to you about, give you as much knowledge that I possibly can in a short period of time, because I also don't want to waste your guys' time, and I know that attention span is something that we're all working on in humanity right now, so I try to make them short, sweet, and to the point. If you're new to the channel, man, we appreciate you. Please subscribe to the channel. It's greatly appreciated. While you're at it, smash the like button, help that algorithm out. It's also greatly appreciated. On this episode, I kind of wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about what goes on in the boiler room when we're not there. Right? Because I do talk to you guys a lot about what goes on while I'm there, and I talk to you a lot about efficiency, and I've talked about systems, and I've gotten into steam and hydronics and pumps, and I've gotten into pretty much a lot of different topics as it pertains to a boiler room and boiler operation from our perspective. But one of the things I really haven't talked to you about is how are you communicating with the customers or the supers or the homeowners or whatever it is that you deal with in your day-to-day process on things that should be done when you, the mechanic, are not there. Because let's be real, I myself cannot be in a boiler room every single week flushing out and doing different things, right? Those maintenance plans maybe exist with some other bigger companies, but for me, I don't have the manpower to sit there and schedule out 600 plus properties that we're dealing with to go and do flushing and making sure the maintenance is taken care of the way that we see fit, or we know will help the longevity of the equipment. So for my guys, I've kind of put together a little, I know like we're a little archaic at times, but I always feel like sometimes it works better, right? In certain situations, having like a laminated piece of paper where everything is typed out for you to see exactly how things should be done, to me is an easier way of doing things. Yeah, I could send things to the phone, but even in the phone sometimes gets lost. And then also, because we live in the world of doom scrolling, guys will go look for the PDF file and then go down the rabbit hole of some other shit that they shouldn't be. So I like this PDF style laminated photo, which I give to each one of my guys in different scenarios. For us, we do annual inspection stuff, so that's just checking out the legalities of the equipment. They carry that. I have some other ones for just like normal troubleshooting stuff, and then we have one for what I'm going to talk to you on this topic, which is basically like the maintenance when we're not there. The stuff that goes on inside the boiler room is almost, if not more so, just as important as the maintenance you do when you yourself are there. Because for me, as an example, we do a lot of mechanical lower. We use a mechanical style lower to cutoff and a mechanical style feeder, which basically just means to you that it's a ball type. The ball is attached to a valve, and as the water level in the boiler goes down, either the feeder opens up a valve to let water to feed the boiler in automatically, or on the low water cutoff, the same thing. As the water level goes low, this trips a switch, shuts the boiler off. And in those two mechanisms, specifically on a steam system, if you're not flushing them regularly, they can get a mud buildup, and then the water level goes low, but the mechanism never stops, right? It just stays in one position. So the water level could be all the way down here in the boiler, but the fill or the float doesn't know that there's no water in the boiler, right? Because you're only as good as the equipment you use. So if my equipment is fouled up, then that's the only thing telling the system that the electrical and everything is up to par. It's not some magical, mystical thing that, you know, just because there's no water, automatically it knows. We have these different components and these different things in place for the specific reason of making sure we're maintaining the water level where we want it, or shutting off when the water level's at a level we don't want it. So I have set up a maintenance schedule where I want, and it doesn't always work, by the way, which is how we stay in business. But the idea is to teach either the super or the manager or the owner of the building or whatever that especially in the winter, that on a weekly basis we're flushing the boiler out. Because what happens inside of these systems, and again, I'm predominantly talking about steam right now. I don't really have these issues as much on a hydronic system, but still, if you have mechanical equipment on a hydronic system, you should be flushing them out, making sure they're working. But typically on a steam system, because we get a lot of mud, a lot of dirt, a lot of rust, a lot of things inside the system, specifically at the beginning of the year when the boiler's been off and the system's been dry and all that heat and everything has stopped, and everything starts to kind of crust up inside the header piping and the return line pipes and in the radiators themselves. They basically get a big flush, you know, when the season starts. So for the first like month or so, a lot of flushing, a lot of mud, a lot of clogs, a lot of problems occur. So there's a lot of things that can be avoided by maintaining the equipment, specifically the mechanical lower to cut off, mechanical automatic water feeder, maybe skimming the boiler a little bit, which is usually a little bit more on our side of the job that we do, and then also flushing out the main drain, making sure that no dirt and stuff is clogging up. Now, technically, a lot of the buildings that I deal with have chemical companies. When a chemical company comes to put inhibitor in the boiler, it is kind of their job to go in and flush out all these lower the cutoffs and drop some of the water out of the system. But most of these guys do not do that. They don't understand. They literally only understand to take a little sample in their little fucking container, put a little drops in there, see what the pH levels are, and then add or subtract whenever is necessary. Outside of that, a lot of times I've seen these guys over chemical boilers, which also gives a chemical reaction to the steam, which creates surging, which creates water hammer, which creates a fucking headache. So with all that being said, I bring all this up as a reminder to you guys how important it is to discuss with the people who are maintaining the system. So like I said, for me, it's mostly supers that are going to be in the boiler room. I need to be doing a very thorough walkthrough with them of how important it is to stay on the schedule. For me, in the winter, it's once a week on the low water cutoff and the automatic water feeder. Maybe on the flush lines, not as much. And I don't have to do it for any prolonged amount of time. I really just want to get the mud out of there. And a lot of times, I'll tell these guys, when the boiler's running for heat, especially on the low water cutoff, dump that thing. The boiler should shut off on you. But I want to get all the mud, thick, chocolate, milky type of water out of there. And if it's really that bad, then I usually have to stay a little bit, spend time skimming out the system, because I'm just being forthright with you guys, okay? As a part of maintenance, it's hard to spend as much time as sometimes you need to. I have these buildings that have been around for, 70, 80 years. I just went to one the other day and the return lines never had any flush valves anywhere. There was no isolation by the boiler. There was no way for me to really drive out some of the shitty water that's sitting inside the return lines after, I don't even know, 80 years the building is there. There's no drain cocks. There's no drain valves at the boiler. There was nothing. So we finally piped in a T and a valve at the boiler so I could isolate the boiler, let the boiler make steam, produce pressure, and really blow and flush all the dirt, rust, and junk out of the return lines. Now, it took me 3 visits to really get this thing dialed in. But my point in saying that is, for the most part, when companies go, myself included, if I'm being honest, I'm not going there with the intent to flush the lines. But now as I learn, and again, this is a part of learning, right? And I tell you guys all the time, I really am egoless. Like, I don't feel that I can't learn something. Part of what I'm learning now going into the new year, especially the beginning of heating season, is whoever's willing, put an extra charge on it and go there and flush out the returns, skim out the boiler before the system really even gets going for the year, because we can probably eliminate a lot of problems. But that's kind of, I digress a little bit, but it is important. But while I'm doing that, I need to be showing the super some things that he can do inside the boiler room that's also going to help mitigate the emergency call. That's also going to mitigate some of the problems these people have in their systems. But it really does come down to me teaching. Now, I can't be there with them every week when I want them to flush them out, and I have no way of really knowing besides leaving some sort of notebook in the boiler room and hoping that the super goes and just jots down when he did it. But the only thing you can do in this business, and any of you guys who are watching this who are in the business know this term, it's protect your own ass. So if I put it in writing and I say, okay, I send the bill and I say, I also discuss with the super what needs to be done on a weekly basis, specifically in the wintertime, blah, 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 then nobody can come back to me and say, well, he didn't know to do that. Well, I can say bullshit because I spent time with him in the boiler room, which you guys know me, I'm a content creator, so in reality, I'm shooting videos and I'm going to show the super. But on the other side, also written in black and white in the invoice stating I spoke to this guy. At the end of the day, there's so much of what I have to do has to be protecting myself for the long term. Because God forbid something happens inside that system, I always have to be verbalizing or at least writing down what it is that I'm doing to mitigate problems, so the customer can never come back to me and say, well, you never said this, or you never said that, or you never did this, you never did that. Bullshit. I can, because I have the receipts. Receipts are very important. So anyway, again, I hope you guys got something from this, man. Basically maintenance, right? Because it isn't just the maintenance you do when you're there. That is important. You got to be thorough when you're on the jobs. You guys heard me do videos talking about being thorough and being a good technician. But on the other side is educating your customers, whether it be residential, whether it be light commercial, whether it be industrial, it does not make a difference. But are you taking the time to educate your client and letting them know the things that they can do to help their system for the long haul? Again, you can't control what they do or don't do when you're not there, but at the very least, you can educate them on what they should be doing. And at the end of the day, we're always going to have some job security, because you know, not 50% of the time they might not do it. But it is my responsibility to leave somebody with the knowledge needed to take care of the job, which also helps our job in the end as well. So we appreciate you guys. If you watched this far, man, please, and you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. Smash that like button. It really helps us out. We really do appreciate it, and we really do appreciate the growth that this channel has seen over the last, I don't even know how long I'm doing this now, well over a year. But it is appreciated. If you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, you want to share a story yourself, something similar to what I'm talking about, drop a comment below. If there's something I can help you out with, or there's a topic you'd really like to hear us talk about, also drop a comment below. It's always me answering the questions, and I will continue to do so. We do appreciate all the love and support you guys have shown us. I hope you have an amazing day. I hope you keep killing it. Spend that time with the family, man. Enjoy it. Keep building your business. Keep growing. Keep kicking ass. Peace.